Hi, I am Samyogi. Welcome to the Krishnamurti podcast. Today is October 6th, 2025, and this is episode 72. In this episode, we shall continue our discussion of the seventh talk at Ommen, the Netherlands. In yesterday's episode, or the last episode, which was episode 72, we concluded with a description of loneliness from Krishnamurti. We shall visit that because that is important to understand the next question, which also ends with an answer on loneliness. So that question was, does an action necessarily need to express itself in the physical world be complete? For example, if a man hates another one to the point of wanting to hurt him, shall his action be complete only if he hurts or kills him? Or can he free himself and learn in the same way by facing this violent feeling inwardly? So there was an answer, and we shall listen to the last part of the answer. Either, Krishnamurti says, either you do not understand the significance of my words, or you understand merely the superficial meanings. So wait a minute. You want to hurt another when you are conscious of your own loneliness, when you are forced to face your own emptiness, and you react against the person who forces you to that conscious emptiness. And if you react from that, it is but a reaction. Whereas if you find out what is the cause of that loneliness and free yourself from that cause and then act, in that there is harmony, in that there is completeness. So I'll let you reflect on this as we move to the next question. The liberation you explain to us, which you have reached yourself, is that all? Or is it the key to the door which leads to still higher conditions of universal life? So this is a question which is being asked almost a century ago, exactly on August 5th, 1933 in the Netherlands. And the answer from Krishnamurti was as follows. If you have a pain and someone relieves you of that pain, you don't say, is that all? If you are happy, you don't say, is that all? Why do you put such a question? Because you do not really understand what liberation means. To me, it is an eternal becoming, but you can only know it when the mind is free of this continual, ceaseless effort, which is also a transient becoming. That which is growing is not eternal, and we are conscious of this ceaseless growing, expanding of mind and heart and all that achievement. That which is growing is not eternal, and we are conscious of this ceaseless growing, of this achievement, of this expanding of mind and heart and all that. You say, if I do not achieve, if I do not grow, what is there? You will know what is there when your mind and heart have understood the true value, the true worth of this ceaseless growing. Therefore, understand that not what is beyond liberation, or whether liberation is a door which opens to greater life, but begin with that. Begin with that thing which is gnawing your mind and heart, that ceaseless growing, wanting to grow. Liberation to me is an infinite becoming, but one has to understand it. This timeless becoming. Time will exist so long as there is effort. Effort in the pursuit of virtue, effort in developing character, effort in regard to the possession of a will, effort with regard to choice. Liberation to me is an infinite becoming, but one has to understand it. This timeless becoming. Time will exist so long as there is effort. Effort in the pursuit of virtue, effort in developing character, effort in regard to the possession of a will, effort with regard to choice. All these indicate a limitation of time, and this ceaseless effort of growing with which we identify ourselves as self-consciousness, as the I. When the mind is free of that, then you will know what liberation is. You cannot picture, you cannot imagine what this timeless becoming is. If you could imagine that, it must be necessity born of opposites. If you could imagine it, it must of necessity be born of opposites. Therefore, it cannot be true. Therefore, do not begin with that. Do not try to picture to yourself what this thing is. Please do try it, and you will see how simple it is. Begin with something of which you are conscious, of which you know. This conflict, this suffering, this continual battle of choice, and they will exist as long as the mind and heart are craving for achievement, for success, gain, result. And there is that search for a result, gain, achievement, because one is empty. One wants to cover it up, fill it up. We want all the time to accumulate, and the very accumulation creates emptiness. The very pursuit of achievement brings emptiness. If you really see this, if you really feel it, then you will not run away. Then you will stop up all the avenues of escape, and then you will face that loneliness, and out of that comes pure action. So he has talked about loneliness again, and he talked about a couple of things, one of which was when he said, when the mind is free of that, you will know what liberation is. You cannot picture, you cannot imagine this timeless becoming. If you could imagine, it must of necessity be born of opposites, this or that, X or Y. Therefore, it cannot be true. So, is X true or is Y true? So, if X and Y are opposites, if something is born of opposites, of choice, which one is true? Should I be doing this or should I be doing that? If I do that, will I get more money? If I do this, will I get more time? There is always a choice, a conflict, and as long as the mind is caught up in choice, there isn't any awareness. I shall end the podcast here. Choiceless awareness is true religion, someone told Krishnamurti, and Krishnamurti repeated that to the audience. I have a whole book on choiceless awareness, and eventually we will get to that. Thank you. You have a wonderful day.